Hello and welcome. You're watching India Revival Mission with Times Network. I'm Hina Gambhir. With full page ads like these, clarifications via various social media platforms, WhatsApp has been trying to allay the concerns of its 400 million users in India who have started considering switching to other options after WhatsApp decided to update its privacy policy. Now, that policy is going to allow WhatsApp to share your data, your WhatsApp data with parent company Facebook. Now, the fear is that Facebook will be able to access our chats. WhatsApp says that chats and calls remain protected by end-to-end encryption. But is that clarification enough? Can we trust WhatsApp? How is this new policy really going to impact you? We are here to help you get answers to these very important questions on India Revival Mission today. Joining us on the broadcast is R. Chandrasekhar, former NASSCOM President and Chairman, Center for Digital Future; Pawan Duggal, who is a well-known cyber law expert; Shri Parthasarthi, Partner National Leader, Cyber Risk Services, Deloitte India; and Aniket Jain, who is a technological expert. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here on India Revival Mission. Mr. Pawan Duggal, let me begin this discussion with you. What does this new privacy policy update mean for the 400 million WhatsApp users in India, sir?
This privacy policy is the alarm kind of the huge storm that's about to come. We know fully well that WhatsApp has never really cared about ourselves because they have always maintained that whatever you publish on WhatsApp is public information, whether it's audio, video, image, or text. But the scenario now is that this new amended privacy policy is going to make our sensitive personal data shareable, not just with Facebook and Facebook group of companies, but also with all business associates, partners, third parties, and independent service providers. So certainly, let me give an example. If I make a transaction of 10,000 rupees to you on WhatsApp, not just the details of the transaction, how I'm doing that transaction, my credit card, debit card, internet banking number, my location, my internet protocol address, is all going to be shared with this huge army of service providers across the world with whom I have had no connection. And also, the fact remains is these particular privacy policies are in direct violation of the Information Technology Act 2000 and also the rules and regulations, including the Information Technology Rules 2011, because the law requires you to fulfill certain minimum standards of reasonable security practices and procedures. WhatsApp is silent on any kind of cyber security parameters to be followed. Further, with this entire clarification that WhatsApp has given is nothing new. It's only stating the obvious that because it's end-to-end interface, therefore people will not be able to read. None of these clarifications have addressed the salient problematic areas of the new privacy policy. If you are going to accept that, you must be prepared that you are jumping into a river of fire with no protection, and if tomorrow your personal privacy and data privacy will be compromised, you alone will be responsible with no one else. Unfortunately, the government is not acting as swiftly as it should have. The government needs to come up with a strong hand against this service provider that you cannot target the Indian market and yet not comply with the Indian law. If your privacy policy is in violation of the IT Act and rules and regulations, you better well withdraw the same, else appropriate legal action, and the law should prevail. So the government is taking its time, hence the users have to take the choices in their own hands. Let's make intelligent choices to protect our data privacy and our personal privacy.
Mr. Chandrasekhar, now if it is indeed a violation of the rules here in India, then why is the government not saying anything? It's been so many days already. 8th of February is the last date for the 400 million WhatsApp users to accept this particular new data policy in case they want to continue using this platform.
Well, firstly, the question is that what is the process for getting a reprieve or redressal of violations of that policy? The second is, to the best of my knowledge, the policy does allow people to give their consent for certain kinds of usage of the data. So it does not take away the right of people to voluntarily share information. But what is happening now is, under the banner of sharing only your communications and relevant details with business entities, WhatsApp is going to share that information, as Mr. Duggal has explained, with not only with Facebook, but with a whole host of business entities. Now, the cover for all this presumably is the I agree, which you click without really thinking too much. When you agree to an app and provide access to all the information that you have and various data points that are there on your mobile phone, for example. Now, in the wake of all this controversy and the fact that WhatsApp is using its established customer base, because remember that you get onto a particular application like WhatsApp precisely because there are a large number of people, most of your friends, associates, and all of them are on that app. If they are not,
right. But Mr. Parthasarathy, I want to understand from you, because whatever I have read so far, that seems to...
there is very limited use of being there.
Okay.
But the flip...
Okay, stay on with us, Mr. R. Chandrasekhar. Mr. Parthasarathy, whatever I have understood of this new policy, I don't think there is a choice that's being given to us as WhatsApp users. We are being forced to accept this particular policy, else we will have to delete the app, isn't it?
That is very true, and I think if you really look at a lot of the apps and also a lot of the platforms that are provided worldwide, pretty much, I think they do not give too much of a choice to the end user. And I think it is left to the government and policy makers to see how to essentially manage and help the consumers navigate some of these particular areas. But pretty much, if you really look at it, I think the challenge is the virality of the app and the usage of the app, broad-based use of app, and also the factor that essentially that they want to share information. But pretty much, if you really look at most of these apps or platforms, they have an underlying statement which talks about sharing of information within their affiliate. And that essentially, the affiliate can be a very, very broad term. And you're very right that essentially they're not giving us a choice, because either you can accept or you can basically delete the app, and which I think is the area that they need to possibly look into. But at the same time, I think it is one other aspect that we need to consider in the entire area is to essentially get clarification from them as to how they plan to share this information and what is going to be the usage of this information or correlation of this information and how it could affect end consumer privacy itself. And I think it is for them to provide that particular clarity and clarification, in absence of which I think not only the compete, but also a lot of other people and misinformation essentially will feed into this particular process to actually have disinformation and sort of confuse the public.
Okay, Aniket Jain, as Mr. Parthasarathy talked about clarifications from WhatsApp. Now, WhatsApp has been trying to clarify, trying to allay the concerns of the users here in India since last few days regularly. Now, WhatsApp says that WhatsApp cannot see your private messages or hear your calls, and neither can Facebook. But the business messages are actually going to be the ones which will be shared with Facebook and other companies of the group. My question to you is simple. As a WhatsApp user, the viewer who's watching us right now wants to know how is WhatsApp going to differentiate between a regular chat and a chat for business purpose? I mean, if you want to differentiate, you will have to read and store both, right?
Yes, absolutely. So to answer to your question, right, look, we've been working with WhatsApp for a while, and to give you a fair bit of context, look, there are two types of users. There is personal users who can have a P2P communication, which is person to person, and then there's business to person communication. If you look at, there's 400 million users in WhatsApp, and WhatsApp obviously wants to monetize this opportunity. And there was a huge opportunity that business entities realized that how do I start communicating to my customers and give convenience over WhatsApp? And that's where in the last few years, WhatsApp has entered this new initiative called WhatsApp Business API. It's a verified account where you have to apply, and it takes about a couple of hours, a few days to get verified business entities. Now, business entities today, what they do typically, once they get verified account from WhatsApp, which is by Facebook, they start sending all your booking confirmation, your transaction details. Now, all of that transaction details. Now, what WhatsApp is saying in the new policy is that all of these data will be exposed to business entities. Now, and business entities work with Facebook and third party. So all of this information will be available with Facebook and its third parties. And on top of that, they can do any kind of engagement with the customer. So this is what they're talking about. Now, if you look at from a person to person, I think that is strictly kept confidential. It is encrypted. It continues as it is. But there's a business angle. Now, I tell you what we should do right now. Obviously, every company, Indian companies, international companies getting into this market. In a couple of countries, there's something called GDPR, which clearly defines a framework of how a company should keep design privacy in mind when you're building a tech product. Unfortunately, in India, we are still behind. We need some policies, and there's been a talk about PDP bill, which is yet to be tabled in the parliament and discussed about this topic. And if you look at why there's been a lag from the government, is because in the last few years, 5-10 years, the digital boom in India has been significant, right? And especially the last year, COVID has exponentially grown. And unfortunately, the policy is not yet out. If there's a policy, then I think Facebook or any other company for that matter will have no choice but to follow the guideline, and there should be an authority called Data Protection Authority, which works and ensures that end citizens' privacy is protected.
Mr. R. Chandrasekhar, now I want to ask you, now the same rules are not going to apply in European Union, because I believe they have a more stringent data regulation, data law, which India does not have right now. Why should the users here in India not be given a choice of deciding to share the data that they want to, and then saying no to certain data that they don't want to share?
Well, obviously that is a technological choice which is possible. But for whatever reason, WhatsApp and Facebook have chosen not to provide such an option to a user, even though they could have done that. Now, these are business decisions, because clearly they would be balancing between the customers they are bound to lose when they insist on such a restrictive provision, where your choice is either to agree or simply get off WhatsApp. And I would say that it's not completely incorrect, that a large number of people or a large percentage of people will be indifferent. And we have seen that in respect of privacy, a lot of people are extremely negligent and shrug their shoulders and say it's okay. But you only realize the implications when someone really hits you, and that information gets into the wrong hands through multiple intermediaries. And it's extremely difficult to get any kind of resolution in such situation. The point also is that the USP of WhatsApp has always been end-to-end encryption and an assurance of absolute safety and security from prying eyes. Now, you may say that this is being done only for business apps, and I think the other panelists have brought out the fact that it is applicable only to certain kinds of communication using certain APIs and not all the communications and so on. But whether you like it or not, doubt has crept in. And the doubt is that these guys are going to look for ways to monetize data. It's a game which all companies play. Let's also be clear.
Yes.
All digital companies play this game. And one way or the other, you are paying for the so-called free services. Either you are paying money or you are giving access to your data. There is also a question of proportionality. There have been a lot of comparisons in the wake of this recent controversy on how much data is collected for which kind of service. And if you look at that, there is a disproportionately high amount of data that is collected by WhatsApp for this kind of a service, in comparison to apps like Signal, which are now being suggested. And if you look at even other apps, instant messaging apps like Facebook, Messenger, then it is even more, much more, humongously more information not related to the needs of the app itself. So the fact is that data has become the currency with which you are paying for it. But what makes this situation unique is that you are not really being given a free choice.
Yes.
The choices which you mentioned are not being given.
Right. So, Mr. Duggal, perhaps there is some reason that for a free service to at least 2 billion people across the world, 400 million people in India, WhatsApp is giving full page ads on leading newspapers. I mean, there's definitely a reason, isn't it?
The reason is very clear. WhatsApp appears to be rattled. But these newspaper advertisements have no legal rationale, because their privacy policy as amended on their website continues to be the same. Nowhere in the privacy policy says that this is only going to apply to business accounts. It is across the board. So I think if you are doing something which is in violation of the law in India, then n number of newspaper advertisements are not going to grant any legitimacy to your act, which is otherwise in contravention of the law. And even otherwise, the fundamental question is, what gives you the power to put a gun on the head of 40 million or 40 crore Indian users and then tell them you either accept my terms and conditions or you please be out? I think once you're doing as an intermediary, you may not be located in India, but the Indian cyber law is very clear. Section 1 and Section 75 of the IT Act says, independent of where you're physically located, if your services are available on computer systems and mobiles located in India, then you have to comply with Indian law. There's not a single cent of what kind of due diligence and what kind of reasonable security practices are being exercised by WhatsApp in compliance with its statutory obligations as an intermediary under the IT Act. So I think we need to do far more. Let's not believe what they are saying is 100% correct. Let's first learn to safeguard our own privacy, our own personal and data privacy. And if that means shifting on to more secure, more private alternatives like Signal, so be it. Ultimately, we are here to protect our digital liberties.
Well, as Mr. R. Chandrasekhar also, Mr. Duggal had mentioned earlier that, doubt has now come in everyone's mind. So people are quite worried. Whatever WhatsApp may do, there is going to be that bit of a privacy issue. The concern regarding the privacy of our data, our chats, messages, calls, etc. is going to continue. Now, the question that I want to ask each one of you one by one is, on the basis of whatever data that we've got so far on WhatsApp's new policy, is it time to now shift to other apps and perhaps delete WhatsApp? Because 8th of February is the deadline that has been given to the users. Mr. Duggal, let's start with you.
I have no doubt in saying that it's time for India to move on. It's time for Indians to wake up from their complacency and start taking cogent steps to protect their privacy. And a big step in that direction is vacating WhatsApp and going on to more secure, more stable and private platforms like Signal. The reason for this is this next 3 weeks or so is your transition time. Try as far as possible to go on to new platforms. You can use Signal.
So Mr. Duggal feels that this is the time to shift to another safer platform. Mr. Parthasarathi, what's your point of view?
I take the point from what Mr. Chandrasekhar said. I think I agree that essentially with what WhatsApp has done, they've actually shaken the trust of their particular user. I think that's definitely shaken, and I think they need to bring that back. But irrespective of whether you move away from WhatsApp or move to any other platform that is there, I believe that all of those particular platforms will eventually want to monetize that particular data. And I think it is going to be very important that irrespective of whether it's WhatsApp or something else, all of the apps are essentially there to basically make money. If they're giving you a free service, they will be leveraging that.
Absolutely.
So from that aspect, I would say it's more of us collectively as a country saying what is it that we need to do and how we need to protect our consumers, and for us to stand up to say that we are not going to move away, but provide us the service the way we want you to provide us the service, and to dictate that back to any particular, it is not only WhatsApp, to any platform, and to, as consumers, protect our own rights from that aspect. So I would not dictate about moving away from the platform, but
Okay.
essentially as a collective going after it.
Okay, Mr. R. Chandrasekhar, what is your point of view? Is it time to delete WhatsApp and look for safer options?
Well, certainly, I think the old rule in the market applies, user beware. So the time has certainly come for people to look at options and actually have an option for themselves with some other app. Maybe one should look at how the developments are taking place in WhatsApp before deleting WhatsApp, but absolutely, definitely, one should be looking at alternatives and one should be getting on to alternatives and perhaps building that along with whoever you are in contact with. Because
Okay.
remember, this connects two people. So one person, two or more people. So an individual can't make the choice unless collectively that group moves in. They're all members of multiple groups on WhatsApp.
Right.
You can as well be on multiple platforms.
Right. Aniket Jain, what is your point of view?
Yeah, my view is slightly aligned to what Parthasarathy sir said. Look, it's going to be very hard, right? Look at WhatsApp launched in 2009. The whole country, like 400 million users in India, are together in this. It's not. It's going to be hard because today our family members, our elderly people, all of them use WhatsApp today very efficiently, right? Moving them to a new platform is going to be the stickiness is going to a lot more stickiness on WhatsApp. It's going to be harder. The only way is to WhatsApp have a dialogue with government, and the government should bring in a strong policy.
Okay.
And WhatsApp has to align all of that, something like GDPR, which is a data, something like a PDP, privacy, PDP bill, something that will help the end. And I think fundamental right is privacy, right? For
Absolutely.
citizens, right? And if that we can follow, as long as that has been protected, and I have. And also, the option should be not forcefully accepted. They should be managed. I can give my consent, permission to accept and manage all of this as an end user. As long as WhatsApp is able to do all of that, it's fine. But if they don't change, then I think government should do something with the framework and bring in a framework, not just today.
So
Today
you
there's
see
Facebook and
government's
WhatsApp
intervention in a situation like this. But Mr. Pawan Duggal, now the question is, even other platforms are saving our data. For example, Signal also is saving our chats. It might not be sharing it with someone. Telegram is also, has got plans to have ads very soon. So eventually, they will also be doing what WhatsApp is doing today. So, isn't it that WhatsApp is talking about it and hence has become the devil here, but others are quietly saving our data, which we don't even know about?
Well, we have to quickly start analyzing the terms and conditions and privacy policy of WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram. And the quicker we start doing it, we'll start realizing how Signal, as a legal entity, is far more superior than other players, because Australian government wanted Signal to give the back-end encryption keys of their users to the Australian government. Signal refused and instead decided to exit the territory of Australia because they wanted to uphold the privacy of their users. Now, it's correct that there are no free lunches. It's correct that at one point of time, whosoever is dealing with us is interested in our data. But if a charity or a not-for-profit is dealing with your data, then the chances are much more higher that this charity organization which Signal is ultimately being connected with is going to be far more generous in terms of protecting your privacy as compared to a ruthless commercial entities whose only job is to make money. Yes, we cannot sleep on our rights. We have to be constantly aware, alive, and we have to be constantly watchful. Due diligence has to be the only mantra as we go forward. Let's begin to start inculcating an element of distrust and mistrust. Let's only trust people once they're able to prove their worthiness. Till such time, we have to be consciously careful in trying to protect our personal privacy and our data privacy.
Well, I think you've summed it up quite well. Due diligence has to be the mantra from here on. And of course, I hope that our experts have managed to answer all the questions that you had over this new WhatsApp's privacy policy that is being forced upon us, even though clarifications are coming from WhatsApp. But the doubts still remain within about 400 million users of WhatsApp in India. Remember, WhatsApp is the biggest, India is the biggest market for WhatsApp if you look at the world right now. So we'll see what happens next in this case. But thank you very much, all of you gentlemen, for joining us here on India Revival Mission.